The Bunzerelly Show.
All right, guys, what's going on? I got Nick with me.
Hey.
We're going to start with the Sony era. So right now we're going to kind of focus on Toby, Maguire, Spiderman, and then Andrew Garfield. So back in the day, Marvel was going bankrupt, and they sold off some movie rights to some of their characters. The two being the most popular at that time were Spider-Man and X-Men. Those were just like the hottest things back in the 90s. Avengers really didn't gain popularity until after the movies. So nobody was really after those rights, or maybe didn't put them up for sale. But anyway, Spider-Man got sold to Sony. X-Men got sold to Fox. So when X-Men got sold to Fox, X-Men really blew up. And actually, we're going to catch up on X-Men at some point, but then Sony jumped in with Spider-Man. And because the effects were starting to pick up and like Phantom Menace had come out and the new Star Wars movies had come out, so basically they could use CGI and do whatever they want. That being said, was now we can make Spider-Man swing. You can make anybody do anything. So that's what Sony came out the gate with Spider-Man in 2002. So that was the first one. We watched them all. What did you think about him, Nick? Like, start with Toby Maguire.
Oh, by far, great start, great actor.
Yeah. His movies had a certain look to them. Of course, one started the template, and that was with the first one with the Green Goblin. And of course, you had the origin. A lot of cool things going on there. One of the big bolder choices was they decided to go with the organic webbing that you had said, because it's funny, like from your point of view, you're seeing it without as much comics knowledge, and you were kind of interested, like you like Toby's organic webbing better.
Yeah.
Now, in the comics, it traditionally is built web shooters, but they just thought it would be one less story to tell, because it was kind of like, well, how believable is it that he got bit by a spider and he knows how to build these web shooters? But really, now, especially because it's the way superheroes are, we just kind of accept anything. So like now with all three, we've seen the built ones, but you were a big fan of the organic web shooters.
Yeah, also, I feel like it would be kind of weird to be bitten by the spider, obviously, and only gain like the sticky power.
Yeah.
And yet not get anything really spider related.
Yeah.
But with the organic webbing, you really get to see the spider part of Spider-Man, and I really like that.
Yeah, that was really exciting. The swinging, the costume, really. Spider-Man 1 was kind of like a perfect launch because all the stories kind of wove together as far as like Peter, the Green Goblin, Harry, Mary Jane. I really liked, Green Goblin, you see him again, and he's really kind of, I think, like, he might be the best of the villains.
I like Doc Ock more.
Yeah? Okay, I could see that, but I think he was good as a first villain.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm thinking more of like when we get to No Way Home, which will be later, but that's where he kind of steals the show. But yeah, we had talked about, we kind of jump all over the place with it, but I think the whole trilogy was, like you said, Doc Ock was great, and you could go back and forth which one was better.
Right.
Third movie was a little weak.
I mean, I wouldn't say weak, but I would agree it wasn't as strong as
it was the weakest
two.
the weakest of the three.
Right.
It kind of gets derailed, and there's some reasons behind that. One of them was that Sam Raimi, the director, he wanted to do Sandman. Sandman was his favorite character.
Right.
The studios wanted him to do Venom because Venom was really popular. And what we got was a bunch of stuff crammed together. My original thought was, because I was very excited about the Harry stuff. Like when they ended Spider-Man 2 and Harry gets into his father's stuff.
Right.
And he finds the secrets, and they're like, oh, because in the comics, Harry becomes the Green Goblin. It's like, all right, we're going to do it. And you're thinking it's going to build up to this thing. And it kind of was cool, the Harry stuff. But it just kind of took a back seat to everything else going on. My thing was, so there was a Dr. Kirk Connors in the Raimi trilogy,
Right.
the guy that becomes the Lizard. They just never followed up on that. I think a better third movie would have been more focused on Harry as the Green Goblin. Get rid of Venom, get rid of Sandman, because that whole storyline with Sandman and Peter's uncle, that was unnecessary.
Right.
So you get rid of Venom, rid of Sandman, focus on Harry's Goblin, but give us the Lizard. That way you got something else to look at. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just looking at another Green Goblin, have something, but have the Lizard more of just like a monster, not so much the brainy plot device.
Sure.
Yeah.
I did like Venom in that movie, though.
Well, yeah, and he's okay. It was just crammed into a small amount of space, and maybe also because it got shadowed out by the newer Venom, which is a lot more comic accurate looking.
Right.
But I guess, like you say, like from a third person, from you watching it, you thought it was cool because you had enough time with him in the black costume to get it.
Here's the thing with me and the villains, though, in that movie. I would agree that they're very crammed together, but like the moments in which they're kind of alone, kind of showing what they do and stuff, I think they're really cool in that perspective. I think they're good alone in that movie, but when they're like together, it's a little ugh.
Yeah, some of the stuff was unnatural, like the teaming up. Oh, you know what really irks me, and this will come into this really irked me about the third movie because it was kind of a jump of what they normally do, and it irked me again in The Amazing Spider-Man. I don't like when. Okay, so in the first Spider-Man, where he's trying to save Mary Jane and those kids that are falling from that car,
Right.
and then all of a sudden the people are like, "Hey, leave Spider-Man alone," and throwing the cans.
Right.
That was cool because that was organic.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That was natural. Okay. What I don't like is what they did in Spider-Man 3, where it's like the police set up guardrails and there's a big sand monster and everybody's gathered around to watch the sand marker. And not only that, they're gathered around with their kids. You know what I'm saying? Like if there was a sand monster and you and me aren't going to be standing at the guardrail, we're hauling butt. You know what I'm saying? And they did it in they didn't. I thought that was just a trope, and then we were watching the Garfield ones. It just bugs me. It just something. It just seems a little. I don't know. It takes me out of it when it's like
unnecessary.
Like Amazing Spider-Man. So they're fighting Electro, who appears out of nowhere,
right?
And people are just clapping for Spider-Man and standing around. Like it's still a fight of a guy shooting lightning.
Right.
You know what I mean? That part, and they never did it in the Toby movies. I mean, I'm sorry, the Tom Holland movies. But just that little thing, I noticed it yesterday because we watched both the Garfields back to back. I'm like, what is this gathering around? Oh, when he fights the Rhino, and everybody just gathers around. It's like, get out of there.
Yeah, even like the little kid at the end.
That Rhino was shooting machine guns. That kid's gone. Mom grabs the kid and you go. You don't want to. What's going to happen? Especially but that's just a little. I was holding it in for 2 days. But that was bugging me.
I could agree with you on that, but once again, they kind of they got to show that Spider-Man's cool.
Yeah,
they support him.
Now, as much as like you say, you like Doc Ock, and I did like Doc Ock, and I go back and forth between him and Norman. I think maybe I'm going more towards the role Norman took in No Way Home, which really kind of stole it, but. Spider-Man 2 is my favorite of that trilogy. It's very smooth, organic. Like Doc Ock's motivations are they're not like, I'm going to take over the world. He's going to rebuild it. He is a little driven crazy by his arms, but he just wants to rebuild his machine. He's focused on that. It's like the arms went to his deepest desires and went along with that. So that I liked, and just like, the stuff going on with Harry was nice, and the stuff going on, the way everything happened, everything was cool. The scene on the subway, that scene was awesome. We're all pushing him.
Iconic.
It was iconic. They showed that in the trailer, just him being the hands pushing him without the mask, and they're like, I gotta see what's going on there.
Right.
But that was really good. My other problem with 3 was I didn't like. I understood when he got the black costume that he kind of made him a jerk.
Right.
but he was kind of being a jerk before the black costume. And it seemed, I mean, maybe it was realistic that he was caught up in being Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but it didn't. I could believe that, but I couldn't believe him being so oblivious to Mary Jane. Like, you know what I mean? Like talking about himself and stuff. That seemed a little, maybe it should have been a little more subtle, or maybe, I don't know. Did you think of anything about that, or?
I see where you're going at, and I could kind of agree, but I think before he got the venom on his suit, the only reason why he was being a jerk, it was because, like, he was in a situation where, you know, in that trilogy in 3, you know, Mary Jane loses her actress job.
Yeah.
So he was dealing with that while dealing with, like, you know, like practically all of New York loving him. So, you know, he's trying to help Mary Jane, but,
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to.
Yeah, I guess some of that stuff mirrors itself in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't know. Do you want to jump over to Andrew?
Yeah.
Because we could pin back to Toby when if it comes up, but because some of the stuff kind of you can compare to each other. I'll tell you something. I definitely liked the dynamic as much as I like Mary Jane and Peter. I liked the dynamic between Gwen Stacy and Peter a little better. I just think the romance was a little better. You know what I mean? It was more natural. Like it looked like a teenage movie of people falling in love.
Yeah, I think
the Mary Jane stuff was a little kind of dramatic and heavy. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
What do you think?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. In fact, I think the Amazing Spider-Man, the first Andrew Garfield, that's probably my favorite Spider-Man movie.
When he shot the web and revealed himself to Gwen, remember
Right.
he like shot the web and pulled her. And she's
Yeah.
like, oh, like that scene was awesome. That was
Yeah.
really great. Now the scene where Mary Jane realizes Peter is Spider-Man is really cool too, because it's a payoff to a dramatic scene.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I guess they both had their up and downs. I'm just a bigger fan of the Gwen Garfield dynamic.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the movies. I'm saying those two together. I like that. So some things about Andrew's character. They did a thing with his parents. They were trying to dig that little side story. Watching it as a trilogy, I think they kind of dug into the Osborn Industries a little too much. Like the mystery of his parents with the Osborn stuff. Didn't it seem like a distraction, kind of?
I don't think it was too much, really.
You were into it? You were
Yeah.
okay with it?
Yeah, I was okay with it. I would say that the fact that they showed the backstory with his parents in both movies,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's a little off-putting.
Well, because they're making it. That's what I'm saying. The first one was kind of cool, but then the second one is like more of the mystery.
Right.
And it's like, pay off the mystery already. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I mean, they didn't, and then they kind of scrapped it after that movie too. Andrew didn't get a third movie. You say you liked his costume.
Oh yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2 I think is the best costume.
I know it is. It's the most comic accurate. For some reason, I got a soft spot for his first costume. And I think it's because I was hoping he'd have it for No Way Home, because it would be easier for you to tell the difference between the three Spider-Men. But I don't think there was a time in that movie that I couldn't tell which Spider-Man was which.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just thought it would have made it stand out a little different. But
I didn't like the gold eyes on the first one. That was the only thing. Probably especially, I've seen a bit of the comic stuff,
Yeah.
and I think I'm used to Spider-Man with the white eyes.
yeah.
So to see like a shiny gold small is very off-putting for me.
Well, his eyes have had different shape, but yeah, the one he had the most comic accurate, like the one that was from like the 90s. So yeah, that was like so far the best costume, I think. Not you can say a lot of things about when we get into Tom Holland, but we're gonna see he goes through a lot of costumes.
Yeah.
I tell you one thing I noticed, and I remembered it when we saw No Way Home, and I kind of forgot about it, but Andrew Garfield is very good at expressing himself as Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
If you know what I'm saying, because what it is, and a lot of people that wear masks in movies, you got to kind of make up for it with your hands and almost like a puppet. Like you got to be a little more animated.
Sure.
And Andrew Garfield, I think, was the best at that. Because he would be like, "Oh, Gwen, Duck, oh, come on!" You got his emotions he would act out his emotions really good.
Yeah.
They did a lot of cool, both of them awesome web swingers. I thought Andrew's. What did you? There's a reason I'm asking you. What did you think about Andrew's web swinging?
I thought it was good.
Okay, because to me it was like the thing was these Spider-Man came out shortly after Avatar, and what Avatar did was they kind of revolutionized 3D. 3D used to be just gimmicky, something just popping out of the screen.
Sure.
But Avatar the reason Avatar was such a big deal at the time was because they actually said, like, you're going to be immersed in this world in 3D, and everybody changed it up. And a lot of the Amazing Spider-Man, the swinging, they do stuff from his point of view and stuff. I wasn't sure how it would translate later. You know what I'm saying? But if you liked it, it was fine. Me in the back of my head, it's like, oh, they're doing this because it was in 3D. You know what I'm saying? But if it didn't seem unnatural to you, then I guess it was fine.
Yeah. I don't think Andrew's was bad. I'll tell you this. Like, I think Toby's was definitely way better, but I still think Andrew's was good.
Toby's had a grace to it, and there was certain moves he'd do, and he just it was kind of like watching a dance. I tell you what scene, because when the movie first came out, there was like certain scenes you would watch over and over.
Right.
And probably my favorite swing scene of all time is when Peter is chasing the burglar for the first time, because he's in his wrestling outfit and he's angry.
Right.
So he's desperate in this chase. So as he's kind of, you're seeing him kind of learn to swing out of necessity, because he swings one way and then he is about to crash. He shoots another web, but then he starts getting it.
Right.
And it's the coolest scene. But I remember that's back when you had to like download a video and it took like an hour like to get like, if you like the small 6% just to watch that scene. But I would be watching that scene over and over again. That was my favorite, that initial swing.
Yeah. Okay. What did you think about Aunt May?
Both were good. Both served their purpose. Mm-hmm. I couldn't tell you which one was which. I mean, it's a joke that she gets younger with every Spider-Man, but she served her purpose. I think I kind of liked.
I thought Andrew's Aunt May was a little bit extra.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
see. I thought I would think she was more. She was extra as an aunt, but not so much like the life lessons and the stuff like Aunt May was in the original. But you're talking about Sally Field's Aunt May. Yeah, I don't know. I took her as like, being worried about him, and the conversation she had when she got angry talking about his father.
Right.
And that kind of said like, you're my boy. I raised you and stuff. I like that stuff.
Maybe it's just like there's a lot going on for her, and maybe I'm seeing it the wrong way, because with the first Aunt May in the Toby Maguire trilogy, it was really just, for the movie, it was really just Uncle Ben that was the main thing why she was so like worried all the time.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, with Andrew Garfield, there's, Peter's doing all these things. Peter's wondering about his father. Uncle Ben died. And then there was also like Gwen's dad died, and then in the second one Gwen died. It's just like all these things.
Yeah, I like that. I did like that. I remember the first time I saw that, where he's at the graduation and he's looking at he's looking at a police car and he sees Gwen's dad. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I really enjoyed. That was Dennis Leary playing Captain Stacy, but he also died in the comics kind of the same way. I know he died during some fight that Spider-Man was around. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it was the original Green Goblin or who it was, but yeah, he kind of died the same way, like helping Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What else we got with Garfield? Yeah, the Osborn stuff. I didn't like them kind of jumping into the Osborn just the whole Osborn industry thing. It didn't pay off. I mean, like, I didn't like them, like the second Harry. You said you liked the first one better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. The second Harry it's very weird.
It's not enough. It's the first Harry had some reasons and some betrayal. Yeah. For this Harry to come in the beginning of the movie and all of a sudden he was Peter's best friend, like he just appears, is Peter's best friend, but then instantly switches up on Peter because Spider-Man won't give him his blood. It's just
it's too much for too little, and
it's too much to hate Spider-Man for. It's too, you know what I'm saying, because you don't really have a hunch, and you haven't even talked to any scientist that told you like, oh yeah, that could work. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't.
Right.
I don't know. It just, and maybe just because I like Harry's better. But I mean, James Franco is the first Harry. I like that better.
Yeah.
But I don't like saying that because, like, we like both Toby, Maguire, and Andrew.
Yeah.
We're coming in as fans of both of them. So it's not that. So it's not because we like the other one better. I just think this one was a little crammed in. The whole fundamental thing behind Harry is he's Peter's best friend, but his father was killed fighting Spider-Man.
Right.
And he knows. Everything else seems kind of just forced. And even the killing of Gwen doesn't make sense for, if it's between you and Spider-Man, like you're going to make him suffer because he won't give you his blood. You know what I'm saying? That's not that's not like even. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to kill your girlfriend because you won't. Why don't you just get blood from Spider-Man, beat him up, and you know what I mean? Or have some weapons where you could. But yeah, that part, that's once again good movie. But the death of Gwen Stacy was like,
wow.
I don't want to say perfect, but it was, you know what I'm saying, as far as the impact.
Right.
That was the part that was, so if it, you know, that's what kind of sold it, because even when you get to No Way Home and he actually rescues Mary Jane,
right,
you watch clips on YouTube, there's people clapping as soon as they see Andrew jump. Because like, yeah, he gets his redemption, you know, from the catch. But that's why people went nuts. They're just like, yeah, let Andrew make the save. And it was like, great. It was, but yeah, both of them great.
Oh yeah, very great.
Both of them, like you say, we could nitpick different things, but both of them were definitely like earned the mantle of Spider-Man. And I wouldn't trade Andrew for more years of Toby. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm glad they both happened.
Yeah. One last thing. I felt like Andrew was the most like saddest of the three Spider-Man, because like, I don't mean like sad the movie, I mean like Peter Parker himself, because
of what he had been through.
Right.
You're saying when we get to No Way Home at that point.
Right.
Yeah. And he goes, yeah, I tried to move on, which he did. He was fighting around, but it probably caught up with him and everything. Yeah. That's why it's kind of like, and when we get to No Way Home, it's funny because both those guys, Toby and Andrew, are kind of like, we want to be very vague. We don't want to give up too much of what happened to our Spider-Man, because you don't want to take away from the original movies. You want to kind of leave it to the imagination.
Yeah.
So they really don't tell you too much of what happened to him. You get kind of like idea. Like when Toby's talking about Mary Jane, he goes, oh, we made it work. It was a little difficult, but it doesn't tell you too much. All right, so we covered those two because we watched 5 movies. So we got another 5 to go, I think, if you count Infinity War, depending how deep we go. So
yeah,
we're going to cover, next up, part 2, we're going to cover Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But then, of course, when we get to No Way Home, we'll come back full circle and bring all the villains back. So it's a nice way to close it out. So, Nick, I want to thank you for being here.
Oh, yeah, no problem. This was great.
And we'll see you guys.